welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you 2 Farmhouse Decor DIYs. I got a lot of really good feedback from you guys on my last Farmhouse Decor DIY video, so I decided I would go ahead and make another one. For today, I'm going to be making a floral orb made out of 2 embroidery hoops, and then the second DIY is a chicken wire window frame with a wreath. So if you guys want to see how I created these, then just keep watching. The first DIY is a floral orb, and to make this I'm using embroidery hoops, some fake flowers, my hot glue gun, some pliers, or if you have floral cutters, jute, sponge paint brushes, Waverly Inspirations chalk paint, and I'm using the color ivory and truffle, and I'm also using some sandpaper. I'm first taking my embroidery hoops apart. I'm loosening the screws at the top so it's easy for me to get the inside circles out, and once those are out I'm going to be painting those with that ivory chalk paint from Waverly Inspirations in the color ivory. After my hoops are all painted in the ivory color and they've dried, I'm taking this Waverly Inspirations chalk paint in the color truffle and I'm painting over that ivory color. After my hoops are all painted and dried in the truffle color, I'm taking this sandpaper and sanding over the hoops. I'm not putting a lot of pressure, I'm just gently sanding over top, and I am using 120 grit sandpaper, but you can use any sandpaper really. This is just one that I already had on hand. By using the sandpaper, it's going to give your hoops a really nice distressed look. After I've distressed my hoops, I'm going to be taking my hot glue gun and gluing these circles together. I'm going to be starting with the 2 inner circles and just putting one inside of the other and just placing them where I think that they are centered, and then putting a little hot glue down and then pressing the other circle on top of the hot glue so it stays together, and then continuing this on the bottom side. I'm going to be taking the outer circle of my embroidery hoop and I'm going to be unscrewing the screw so that it's easier to get over the inner circles, and then tightening that screw so that it's tight over the inner circles before I hot glue the outer circle onto the inner circles. Hot gluing the outer circle onto the inner circles just like I did the other 2 inner circles. I'm placing some hot glue down and then pushing it back over the hot glue and holding it for just a minute until it's all dry. Now that my orb shape is all complete, I'm going to be placing these flowers inside of my orb, and right now I'm just cutting down the leaves so that I can hot glue them on individually. Now I'm hot gluing each leaf on individually by placing a little bit of hot glue down and then pushing down the leaf over top of the hot glue, and then repeating this step until all of my leaves are on. Now that my leaves are all glued on, I'm going to be gluing this larger flower right in the middle by doing the same with the hot glue, just placing some hot glue down and then placing the flower over top. And this one I did have to hold for a little bit longer than the leaves, just so that it sticks a little bit better, because it is a little heavier than the individual leaves were. Now I'm going to be taking some jute and just wrapping it around the metal portion of the embroidery hoop, just over and over and over again until it is almost completely covered. To make my hanger, I'm going to be using a second cut piece of jute, and I'm going to be taking that and putting it through the hole of the jute next to the screw, and then at the very top tying off a bow to make my hanger. And that completes DIY number 1, so let's move on to DIY number 2, which is a chicken wire window frame with a wreath. For this DIY, I'm going to be using the Waverly Inspirations chalk paint in the color Ivory and Truffle once again, my paintbrush, jute. I'm also going to be using this lamb's ear wreath that I picked up at Hobby Lobby, and I also picked up this chicken wire window frame from Hobby Lobby. I'm going to be using a nail, my hammer, and some sandpaper. I'm starting out by painting the entire window frame with that Waverly Inspirations chalk paint in the color Ivory. What's really good about this window frame is it already had the chicken wire in it, so I didn't have to worry about putting chicken wire on an old frame. I just bought this one already done, and I did get it at Hobby Lobby. It's $12.99, its original price, but I used the 40% off coupon, so it was only like $7.80, which I think is a great deal. I will admit that painting this did take a while because I wanted to make sure that I didn't have any paint on the chicken wire, so I'm just using a small brush to go on the inside portions. Once I got the hang of it, it went a little bit faster, but if you're going to be doing this, just keep in mind that it might take you a little bit to get it all painted. Now that my frame is completely painted in the ivory and dry, I'm going to be taking the Waverly Inspirations chalk paint in the color Truffle, and I'm going to be painting over all of the ivory color. You do want to paint the truffle color on the inner portions of the window frame as well, because you will be able to see that once your frame is completely finished. Once the truffle color is all dry, I'm taking my sandpaper and sanding over top of the window frame. I am staying in the same direction so that any of the strokes that you can see in the paint, they're all going in the same direction. I'm also focusing on the edges with my sandpaper, and I am putting a little bit of pressure just so that it takes the top chocolate color off and you can see the ivory color peeking through. I chose the two different colors and the sandpaper because I wanted my frame to have a farmhouse vibe and a very distressed look. Now I'm wiping off all of the excess sanding dust with an old towel before I add my wreath. I'm now going to be attaching my wreath with this nail. I'm just taking the nail and hammering it into the wood frame and then placing my wreath on top of the nail. And that is the last step for this DIY. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and I would love it if you would subscribe. Let me know in the comments down below what kind of videos you want to see from me next, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you can be notified of my future videos. Thank you so much for watching.